test.
All right, let's see if this works now. Sweet. Had my little helper. So I got my stream set up on this side of the room, and then the actual PC that is on the other side of the room. So I've got a bunch of cables running this way. I don't know why, but looks like Streamlabs decided to change the device for my table mic over here. So sorry about that. Anyway, I was saying just a few minutes ago that if we have enough time, I might be doing a couple of builds, but I'm going to be starting with one, and then we'll see how much time we have left over. If we do have enough time, I'll build both, maybe three, because I do have actually 3 of them to build. But we're going to start off with what we're going to run through with what we're building with today for the first one. This is actually a CPU that I've used before, and I had to use it actually to test. I had an i7 and a Z490 motherboard that wouldn't post, and it ended up being the CPU that was the problem, not the motherboard, which was mind-blowing because I've never ran into a bad CPU before, brand new out of the box. But so I had to take this out, plug it in, test it, and then I used it to get the system up and running, load the drivers, etc. And then I was able to swap the i7 out once I got the new one, or the i5 for the i7. But that's why it's not in its box. That's why it has thermal paste on it, if you can see it. It's kind of probably glaring right now. I might actually go over there and try to change the exposure on this camera real quick. Just give me one more second. I'm sorry. I don't know if that's any better or worse. I think that's a little bit better. It's a little better. Perfect. All right. So that's the CPU that we're going to be using. We're going to be building in the Prime Z590M Plus motherboard by Asus. I have used one of these before already. Yeah, it's on auto right now. So I don't get why it's glaring the light so badly on shiny stuff. Maybe if I can adjust this. The camera's probably going to bounce around a little bit. I'm sorry. It's just... I know you're probably looking... Let's try that. See if that helps. I just don't get why it's so powerful. Like I haven't changed anything since the last time I streamed. So, and then the RAM we're gonna go with is the Delta RGB gaming series from T-Force or Team Group. It's their T-Force Delta, and it's two 8 gig sticks. 16 gigabytes total, CL16, 3200 megahertz. So we're going to be running that with a PNY Accelerate 1 terabyte M.2 SSD. The read writes are 3500 to 3000, so it's got some pretty good speeds for read and write. That's Gen 3. It is not Gen 4. Even though the board is capable of running Gen 4, it's still about $55, $56 cheaper. The video card we're running is a open box GTX 1650. So 4 gigabytes, a little bit light on the video card. Then we've got a AX 3000, which is AX 200 TP-Link PCIe wireless card. Most of the builds I build nowadays, most people are coming from their Xbox or PlayStation, and that's why they're upgrading just to start getting into PC gaming. And so I usually try to always have Wi-Fi in any of the builds that I'm building, which is why we're putting wireless in it and spending the extra dollar. And I normally try to get motherboards with the Wi-Fi on them, but Z490 and Z590 boards are just becoming more and more difficult to get right now. At least the cost of them are going up. So they're still easy to get. They're just pricey. So I'm going with the Z590M because it was cheaper to buy this board plus a wireless adapter than to get a Z590 with Wi-Fi. So that's why we're rolling with that. We are going to be doing a 240 millimeter liquid cooler. This is by ID Cooling. I've used this one a few times. Haven't had any issues with the. Well, I take that. I've had a couple of issues with their 360 model, and after I've RMA'd it, got a return, they've been fine, and I haven't ran into a problem again since. So I don't know if it was just a fluke, but overall, this brand has been pretty good. And then this brand here with the power supply, it's a 750 watt, 80 plus bronze, and it's semi-modular. This brand has been amazing. So if you haven't used them yet, you can find them on Amazon for pretty cheap. I would recommend checking them out and to see if, if you haven't used them before, check them out. The quality is pretty good, and I haven't had a bad one yet. So I know you're looking at the build, and I haven't showed you the case yet, but I know you're looking at the build and you're like, wow, it's pretty crazy, a 750 watt power supply and a 240 millimeter cooler for an i5 and a GTX 1650. It's kind of overkill. But the reason why I'm doing this is to make the build upgradable easier in the future. So if somebody wanted to, say, go from an i5 to an i7, you definitely have the cooling for it with no problems at all. You can even do an i9 if you wanted to, especially with the Z590. And you could go up to 11th gen and possibly 12th gen CPU when those are released, depending on the support with Z5 or with the support from the 590. So there's a lot of upgrade room here, and that's why I built this rig, or I'm building it with a 750 watt power supply and the 240 millimeter AIO. If I was building it strictly for budget, I probably would have gone with an air cooler, not stock, but a super, like a $40 air cooler with 4 heat pipes, or 120 millimeter PWM fan or something. Would have been, at least half the cost. And I definitely wouldn't have gone with a 750 watt power supply. But the idea is the person who buys this rig will be able to upgrade their CPU easily and also the graphics card easily without having to replace the power supply or upgrade the power supply. So that's why we're going a little beefy on the power supply and the cooling. The case, I've used this one a couple times, and you've probably seen it in a stream previously, but it's the Musatex MK7, and it's black. I built the white one, I think, on a couple streams ago. Messaged on Facebook. Oh, did you just send me a message? I'll double check. Okay, I could check it out here after the stream for sure. So I'm gonna keep this going here if you don't mind, and then I'll get in contact with you after the stream. But the MK7, I'm definitely excited to build in that one again, because it's always a pleasure building in that one. I don't really run into any snags with it. If you've seen any of my previous streams, that case I usually talk it up because it's a really nice case for the price, and just the airflow, the fans that come with it, and the price point is great. So if you haven't built in the MK7, I would highly recommend it. You could get it on Amazon. If you have an Amazon Prime, you could get free shipping. But I think it's like $75 or in that range. At least that's what I'm getting them at. So, but they're good. They're good cases. So, and it is a micro ATX case. It's not a full ATX case. And I know some people might be like, "Oh, you're putting all this extra stuff in a micro ATX case," and well, you really don't need the extra room if all you're going to be doing is upgrading your video card and CPU, RAM, and maybe some storage. There's not a lot more that you really can put in the computer at that point. So maybe it would be a better idea to go for an ATX case, but I kind of like these cases and their size. There's a lot of room in there even though it's a micro ATX case. And I am streaming from here, from my Streamlabs, to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So if you see me respond to comments or messages that you aren't seeing on the screen here, it's because they are coming from another platform. So just I'm not talking to myself, I promise. Alright, so I'm going to grab my gloves real quick and we'll get started. So how's everybody else doing today? Anybody else have any builds going on today? Maybe on the weekend? I've got a wedding this weekend. I was actually planning to do this stream maybe on the weekend, on Saturday. But there is a wedding on Saturday that I had forgotten about. So I decided, let's just go ahead and do it after the work day here and get it started. I'm sure you guys love hearing me put these gloves on. It probably sounds weird. I haven't actually went back and listened to what it sounds like. Maybe I should mute myself. All right. So we've got the Z590. We're going to go ahead and get that popped open and get the CPU on here. I'm going to be wiping this thermal paste off because it is a stock paste, and again I used it to check out or troubleshoot a problem I was having on a Z490 i7 build, and it ended up being the CPU, which was kind of surprising because I haven't actually seen that. Doing all right. Been working a lot, just starting this job down in Farmington Hills. Awesome, man. Yeah, I see a lot of people getting back to work, and you know, people that have been working through the pandemic. I see a lot of companies targeting around June, July to push people back to their office. So I feel like that's going to become a common theme here with a lot of people. It's a hike. Oh yeah, over an hour. I believe it. I used to drive from here, or from Armada, when I lived in Armada, Michigan, with no internet. There was no internet there. Don't ask me why I lived there. But from Armada to Detroit, and it was about an hour and 45 minutes, and it was because of the traffic and construction on 75 and 94. It was just a terrible drive. I hated it. That was one way. Oh yeah, the flea market is great. Over there on, I'm assuming, 94. The the trade center over there. Can't even talk right now. Gibraltar. Alright, let's mount this bad boy and wipe this, actually let's wipe this off first. Armada Center Road, that place closed down, didn't it? Yeah, I'm not sure actually. I haven't been over there in a while. I know which one you're talking about though. Haven't been over there in a while. Honestly. But Armada's a nice little town. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's just their internet options over there is extremely limited. I think we were paying almost $500 a month for 4G internet. You know, because I was working remotely and working on site, but I'd have jobs and stuff that I'd have to do after hours. So I had to have quick internet, and satellite just didn't cut it. And even with satellite, it was super expensive, at least at the time. Friendly reminder, when you're building, save this little piece of plastic, because if you ever have to RMA your motherboard, the manufacturer will not accept your motherboard without this piece of plastic covering the pins. So save this. So yeah, the cost of internet was super expensive over there. That's all I remember. Now. And now I pay like, you know, I have a pretty big plan with Xfinity because of data caps. But, and that's because you have daughters and little people that run around and soak up all your data. So once you're hitting a terabyte of data per month, you start getting charged more. But anyway, I'm not sure if they closed that place down yet or not. Just ripped my glove open. I don't know how I did that. Weird. Alright. And get this RAM out of this packaging. Alright, we're going to be putting it in the hold on. Sorry about that. We're going to be putting it in these two gray slots right here. For dual channel. There's only one way you can really put these in. Can't really mess this up. So just make sure you line it up and push it in. I like to say use two hands, but as long as you're pushing evenly across, should be good. And then the little clamp will clamp down on the side of the RAM here. And then the SSD, let's see here. I think we're going to put it in this one, if I remember correctly. This is for Gen 4. I was looking at the manual last time I built in this one. Hand's too big. Yeah, I bought large gloves because I know I have pretty big hands. But why do I keep I don't know. It's just, it's stupid. Our security is letting us know something is happening.
Or he just heard me.
Oh, I heard you.
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, I'll have to order some bigger gloves. Either way. Anyway, back to the SSD. We're going to put it in this slot because if going back to the manual, it'll tell you that this slot up here is Gen 4 or for Ultra. And then this one's for your Gen 3. You could use this one as your Gen 3, but it does cover up the Wi-Fi. So there's a slot here for a Wi-Fi card if you wanted to add it, but we're not going to. And I'm going to put it in the bottom one here, just so I could see it. Get the motherboard screws, because we need a standoff and a screw. Some manufacturers come with these already on the board. Some of them don't. The standoffs. I wish they would all just do the same thing. But I'm going to go with whatever. It doesn't matter to me either way. But this is a 2280. So we're going to put the standoff in the 2280 spot. Screw that in. Nice and easy. Then we're going to slot the M.2 SSD and get our screw ready. I am using a magnetic screwdriver here, just to screw it in. And then just snug. Doesn't have to be super tight. You don't want to reef on this because it will reef down on the SSD. So there we are. Our motherboard is ready. One more thing I'm actually going to do here is get the mount for the cooler on here, so it makes it easier after we get it into the case. So let's get this unboxed, and then get the mounting brackets out, and we'll get the mounts on the board here. It's actually going to be in this box here, so it's pretty easy. Should be in this box. And then we'll deal with the rest of the radiator and the fans a little bit later, once we are ready to throw it in the case. Alright, so ID Cooling actually gives you these pretty nice brackets with the studs on them already, so it makes it nice and easy. And this is for Intel LGA 1200 or the previous socket. Either one will work, same size. And we're just going to slide that into the holes on the back like so, and get the nuts, these nuts, out of the bag and get it screwed down. Not screwed down, I stand corrected. We're going to be doing that later. So there we have it. Our motherboard is ready to go in the case. So we're going to set this aside. Pop this case out. Let me just move this out of the way. Kind of in my way. Okay, stay there. Get the case out of the box, and then we'll get started on the radiator. I usually flip a box over to get the case out. Or you could be one of those people that struggle to get it out. I don't know why. It's always tight to get it out the first time. No pun intended. There we go. You can see it's got a lot of ventilation on the front. It's a mesh front. I do like this case a lot. And it's got ventilation on the top with a magnetic dust filter here. And then lots of ventilation on the back. So it's pretty nice. You can also do a vertical video card mount in here. So it has the bracket for that if you wanted to. So all you really need is the PCIe riser to do a vertical mount on this, in this case if you wanted. Glass, it's tempered glass side panel, and it is on a door. It's hinged, and it's magnetic. Maybe if I can get this plastic up. But it is on a hinge, so it will open like a door. And it does come off. Alright, so we're going to be mounting the radiator actually in the front here, and the fans with the radiator on the very front of the case. So the radiator on the inside, fans on the outside on the front. So I'm going to pop this front panel and remove these two front fans. I'm always afraid to break something when I do that. There we are, we got the two fans accessible here. I'm actually going to pull this side panel off real quick, get it out of our way, and I think I'm actually going to need to get in the back to get one of these screws out. I know a couple people that yell at me for not using that, but I don't care. So I'm going to undo these two front fans here from the fan hub in the back, because we are going to be removing those. So it will be this one here. And this one here. So we're just prepping the case right now for the radiator, and we are going to put the radiator on the front and the radiator fans on the very front. We just need to get these fans off, and they are screwed in down here from the inside. But for the price on this case, I just can't get over the cost, and the quality of the RGB on these fans are not bad at all. They're really good, and the airflow CFM is pretty decent. It moves a lot of air. They're not PWM, but they move a pretty good amount of air. That's maybe my only complaint about the fans. But as a builder, and when you're building a lot of builds, this will save you a ton of time. What are you complaining about, bud? You're fine. He had the kitchen locked up, so he couldn't go in the kitchen. So he's been, my pup, Mr. Max. He's a little upset that he can't go inside the kitchen. Anyway, these fans, yeah, if you look at them closely, they've got some nice vibration padding on them. I mean, they feel like quality fans. They don't feel cheap. Like if you buy up here fans, they're not exactly the best quality. I think they've been getting better though. I haven't bought any of their new ones, and I saw a couple of new ones get released. So I should probably buy them and see what they're like now. Because I did a couple of reviews on them, and that was my biggest complaint, is they're just cheap. Quality. It's easy to break a blade. It's easy to, like if you try to mount it on a case, it's easy to bend them when you're screwing them in. And not with a lot of force either. It's just, they feel cheap. Up here. The brand Up Here. But outside of that, I mean, they're fans and they work. So if you're in a tight budget, they will work. That I cannot disagree with. Alright, so we got the two fans removed from the front of the case now. So the front is wide open. And we're going to stuff a radiator in here and two fans on the front, and that's how we're going to mount this bad boy. Drinking vanilla Coke today. If I'm feeling crazy, I might switch it up to maybe some cherry Coke if I'm feeling crazy enough. I don't think my comments are updating here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to double check to see if maybe it's getting hung up. I don't think notifications are updating on my end. Hold on. Can all of you drop me a chat really quick? I just want to make sure the notifications are popping up here. So I am streaming through Facebook, Twitch, and the YouTube as well. I just noticed some of the chats are not showing up. Hey Will, I saw yours. Anybody on the Twitch side want to drop me a chat? This is just a new adventure for me. I'm trying to figure this out, guys, so bear with me. I'm trying to get it to stream to all 3 platforms at once. For some reason, notifications don't look like they're coming through right. All right, we'll try this. See what happens here. I don't get why it was doing that. I just refreshed the chat and it's all there. Okay. Let's do it. Alrighty, we got our good old radiator here, which we are going to mount here on the front. It is a tight squeeze in here, so if you're planning to use a 240 millimeter AIO, it is going to be a tight fit. FYI. Let's get these fans ready. So we're gonna use the fans to mount the radiator. We're using the screws that go right through the fan. All right. Had to fight with the package here. Apparently, it's really difficult to open these when you're wearing gloves. I already knew that. So I'm going to start and get a couple of these started really quick on the side, and then I'll flip it over and show you guys what I'm doing. But it's just easier to start it when I have it on the side like so. So just give me a second here. I'll get it started at least, and then I'll flip it over and show you. There we go. So we kind of got it started here with just the 2 screws. It looks good. And so this way I could show you what I'm doing here. But I'm just using the fan. Looks good. Perfect. Oh, you're okay, bud. I'm just putting the screw, the tall long screws that come with it, which you would normally use to mount the fans to the radiator. I'm using that to go through the case and into the back of the radiator to mount the radiator to the case. So if you take the fans off, your radiator will drop. But this is a method you can use if you're in these, if you don't want the fans on the inside, which in this case I'm not going to put them on the inside. They can't fit in this case on the inside. Not enough gap. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. For some reason I'm having an absolute difficult time finding the hole. No pun intended. There we are. Probably tighten that down a little bit too tight. There we go. And then we're just going to put the rest of the screws on. I started 2 on each angle or diagonally, just to make sure it's all squared up and everything's lined up. Hey guys, I have actually have a customer picking up real quick, so just give me like 5 minutes so I can get them packaged up and out the door. Alright guys, I'll be right back. Here's some spinny fan action while I'm gone. Sorry about that, guys. He was just picking up a build. Alright, so we've got almost all the screws done. I don't remember exactly where I left off, except here's some spinny fan action. Did the Facebook side just dump the stream for you, or no? So I know we were having some internet issues earlier today. I don't know if they are continuing or not. Or is everybody still here? So I just got a notification saying that the stream ended on Facebook. Or is it only allowing me to stream an hour? I've never seen that before. Well, let me figure this out. Give me a second, guys. I'm sorry. It's all new. We're figuring it out.